All right. There's actually a lot I want to go over in this video. Before I get into anything too crazy, and there's definitely a lot of crazy things I'm going to talk about. And, like, I'm going to explain the whole thing and, like, how it ties together and why it actually ends on Charlie Kirk's birthday on October 14th. But before I get to that, I want to discuss a couple things first. So when Alex Jones found out about this, he also mentioned Valhalla, just like Kash Patel. And remember, Kash Patel is the guy that said whoever led the FBI was in charge of the Epstein files. And then he got in there and he said there are no files. He was trafficking girls to himself. Nobody believes that at this point. Anyway, so when Alex Jones first found out, he mentioned Valhalla, and he happened to mention, like, he basically said he died a king's death. So you have him saying he died a king's death, and then you have that really bizarre statement from Candace Owens, where she says, I'm one of the Masons of Turning Point, and then goes into, like, kings are born. So she called him a king. But remember, Christ is king. Those are her words, right? Which was probably started by Kanye, I don't know, which he's full of shit too, but that's besides the point. It's called the King's Ritual. So it's so funny. I'll put a description of that in the description. But I mean, it's explained in the Masonic ritual sacrifice in my community post. And like, anyways, I had to write some of this stuff down because it gets so crazy. Jews actually use a lunar-based calendar, which I did not know. I just found this out. And you know, I already knew about a lot of the symbolism in the crucifixion story. So Charlie represents Jesus. You know, I prayed to Charlie last night. You know, this is why that guy said it on Tim Pool. Tim Pool's being spoon-fed by non-Yahoo. A lot of these people were. I mean, like, they were so open about it too. And it was only on the right wing. I thought that was weird because they fund both sides. So it's like, why only the right wing? Because they had, who's talking about it right now? That's why. That's exactly why, you know? It's so obvious. But this is like the most obvious scam I think I've ever seen. I don't know how anybody fell for it. But anyway, so it started with the Black Moon, with Subway Girl, right? Well, technically it started with Trump. Trump is like the precursor. You know, the red heifer was like the precursor. So that's like setting the tone, right? So it's to show, you know, the sacrifice of America, so to speak. You know, but this is going to explain everything. So Peter crops Malchus's ear off when he's going to sacrifice Jesus. Well, there's actually a term. So in Jewish tradition, he would be the Malach HaMavet. So you'll notice that there's a similarity in the names here. So you literally have Malach and Malchus. Hold on, Malchus. Let me write this down so I don't get lost here, because there's so many different plays on words. So Mal means evil, and then Lach is kind of like, it means disperse, to do away with, but it also means lack. So like Malach lacks evil, so to speak, and then you have Ha Mavet, and Ha Mavet is like death, and Ha is apparently like the or something. I don't really understand this in Hebrew very well, but so it's like to disperse with the evil death. So that's basically what his name is. So Malchus is evil, and then you have Chi and us, so our evil, essentially speaking, and his name translates to king. You know, this is why it's called the King's Ritual. It is literally because of Malchus. So it all ties together through Malchus, and you have this similarity with the spelling of the names. It's not a coincidence at all. So Malach basically represents death. And, you know, there's two different sides to death. So this is where it gets really interesting, right? So you have Judas, who basically betrays Jesus. So in order to understand everything, you need to kind of understand Samael. So Samael is kind of like the adversary. So it's like the force behind all this thing. So Samael would be whispering in Judas's ear. So there's a term for this. One is Yetzer Hara, and the other one is Yetzer HaTav. So one means good, one means evil, so to speak. So Samael is whispering in Judas's ear, and this determines which one is which. And they say the Ra one is evil, which is kind of a coincidence because Ra is supposed to be good. So it's the way that they're doing this is to show a conflation between the two, like this duality aspect in all of us. So what this is really showing is whoever sits in the king's throne basically is the one who has control over Malak HaMavet and Yetzer Hara and Yetzer Hataf. So basically what happens here is Judas, Yetzer Hara, the evil, commits suicide. And then Malak HaMavet ends up turning on the king, Malchus. So he cuts the king off Malchus's ear. Malchus is sacrificing Jesus, which represents the red heifer, his sin, and that's why he's healed by God, because his ear represents sin. It's a sacrifice. He sacrificed his sin, right? So he's healed. Well, and the way that Jews look at this is a little different, right? So what's actually happening here is Jesus is ascending to take Malchus's position, and it means king. This isn't a mistake at all. That's the name that he receives that's higher than the angels. Peter and Malak HaMavet are actually the two, or not Peter. So Peter is Malak. Judas and Peter are the two thieves. Let me just put it that way. So Malak HaMavet and Yetzer Hara are the two thieves. One of the roles of death is actually to guide you in the afterlife, and this does not mean after you die. It's definitely a different meaning here. So anyways, so you ascend to the king's throne. So in order to understand what all these terms mean, so now you have to look at Samael, right? So Samael means the blind one or the left-handed one. And then you have Jerusalem, right? So Jerusalem, you'll realize that so you have Sa, Le, which is El, and M, which is mom. So you have Sa. Sa actually means it means like head, which Ra means head, or it means sun. And in Egyptian hieroglyphs, they would put like a duck, which is super interesting, but I don't even want to get into that. And then they put like a circle and a dot, which is essentially, you've seen this as hydrogen, but it's literally the North Star and the zodiac spinning around it. Water god, water genie, she watches over us from the North Star. That's why they put that there. But anyway, so they would put this to say like the son of Ra. So the son of God, pretty much. So they would put this in their names. It's Pharaoh. But what's really interesting, so Jer is like J-E-R, so this is earth, and the J is a hook, and they would use a hook in rituals with pharaohs when they would pass to send them to the North Star and stuff like this. But without even getting into that, like you have the Trinity in this, Sa, El, M. This is literally the Son, the Mother, and the Father. But if you actually look at this word, Jerusalem, what you'll actually realize is it says jury. And Jesus was taken before a jury called a Sheridan. She ride in. This is not a coincidence either. And, the Romans called it a tribunal. So there's three, bun, which means bind, and all. So the three would be Israel. So Salem relates to Israel, but there's a distinction here because it's jury and then Salem. What Israel actually means is he who wrestles with God. It's not the name of a country. It's the name of whoever is sitting in the king's throne. That's Israel. This is so crazy, man. So when Jacob became Israel, this is what it means. So Malchus is basically Samael. So he the evil one. He works for Israel. So he's very much a servant. And the reason why it's he who wrestles with God is because if he's in the position, he's wrestling with God within you, and if you're in the position, you're wrestling with him. So no matter what, there's this constant struggle that's going on. And the jury, the tribunal, Jerusalem, that's like the advisors to Israel. That's actually God. That's God. God is the advisors. So they advise Malchus, and they advise whoever is in that position. And that's the crazy part. Man has become like one of us. That's why it says that. So you have a new Jerusalem and a new Israel when this occurs. That's where that phrase comes from. And now they're using it for a totally different reason. And you can see already like how clearly off that is. But if you look at Israel, Isis, Ra, and El. So Ra would be Sa, and the Isis would be M, and then El is L, like it doesn't matter. There's an emphasis on which one is more important in the word or whatever, but I'm not even going to get into that right now. I mean, you can see in the language of these words that these things are not coincidental at all. So you have the black moon that starts this thing off. Then you have the blood moon at the peak of it, and you have Charlie in an upside down pentagon, right? So this is where it gets pretty interesting. So he has 3 rows of 47 hats, which is 33. This is telling you where he is. It's telling you where that is. 33 bones in the spine to the pineal gland. That is the throne of God. That is the mercy seat. And the upside down pentagon, it's like a upside down pyramid. So God coming down to earth. It's not none of this is coincidental at all. Like it happened 33 days before his birthday, and it took them 33 hours to find the killer, and that's why they're going to put Tyler to death, because Tyler is Malak ha-Mavet, and they have to. He has to die because you need the other one in there. Like it's one, but like you get a new jury, and you get a new heaven and earth, new heaven, new earth. Body. So that's why that's occurring there. But to make it really interesting, so October 7th, I talked about this before, 6th, sorry, is the hunter harvest moon. Well, that's actually the beginning of a Jewish feast called Sukkot, Sakkot. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But it's called Sukkot. And guess when it ends? Charlie Kirk's birthday. It ends 8 days later. I mean, in Israel, they celebrate it for 7 days, but in the Bible, in Leviticus, it's for 8 days. So this literally puts it right on the 15th. So they had his, they had his memorial on a new moon. It's not a coincidence because, this is an ascension. He took the throne. He became Israel. It's all there in the language, right? So it's different parts of you. So to explain this a different way, Samuel is like your subconscious mind, and Judas is like your conscience. So like the jury, it's like all these things. It's like, and the Sheridan. This was a group of 71. Allegedly, apparently, from what I read. I could be wrong. I didn't research the Sheridan too much, so you might want to look more into that and fact check me on that. I could be wrong. But, 72 is God, and then in Egypt they had the 72 deacons, and this was linked to illnesses and things like that. There was a bunch of stuff with it. The Greeks said that when they went to go write the LLX, they sent a messenger into Jerusalem. And remember, I just told you what Jerusalem is. So they go into Jerusalem and they ask the king, hey, can we have some scribes to go write a book for our library in Alexandria? So they send them 6 from every tribe, which is 72. The 72 virgins waiting for Muslims in heaven. I mean, there's a reason why I say that Islam and Christianity are like the same thing, and Judaism is something else entirely. I mean, it's totally different. It's not even close, and it's not passed down openly. And that's how they keep getting away with these rituals, because this is like it's so ironic that I came across this video the other day, because it's describing espionage techniques, and one of them is called chicken feed, and this is exactly what they're doing on social media. So it's where like let's say you have like this whole pie and you just give somebody a little piece, and what you're telling them is true, right? But you're holding on to the greater truth. Like all this information, you would never get that from any of these people. They would, just like the guy who made that video. He's, oh, it's just a king's ritual, Solomon, moons, blah blah. Okay, well, what are the details, man? Can't tell you, because you're the goy. You can't tell you. I can. He can't. So this is pretty interesting in general. So this is what they did with the whole Epstein thing, and this is why I think it was deliberate, and this is why I'm pretty sure that he's probably still alive, because I think it was all just to shift the focus on Israel. So they start giving you a little piece of the pie. They start telling you what's going on. Hey, this is what's going on. Hey, this is what's going on. Hey, this is what's going on. And you already know things are messed up, because they also distracted people from what they actually did prior. And most of you probably still haven't figured out what they did in 2020. But I can't talk about it. Not here anyway. But yeah, so it's chicken feed, which again, we're talking about a harvest. They're fattening you up, man. They're getting ready to eat you. Reminds me of the picture I saw of this chicken who packed their bags and he's going to leave, and everybody else is like in the roost is like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm flying the coop." Literally, what it is, man. Anyway, so he gets the hell out of there, and the rest get eaten. And there's another technique that's called steganography. And this is where they use like symbolism and stuff like that, hidden in words or anything really, in order to communicate with people that are in on it. I mean, they're doing a lot of other things, but the steganography aspect, oh my God, the people that are feeding you are all using this, and they don't talk about it. And, so I've watched a lot of videos and people saying a lot of stupid shit, like Charlie was shot over here and stuff like that, which is ridiculous. That's his necklace that you're seeing. And Paramount Tactical breaks this down pretty well. Somebody in a comment actually told me, hey, you should check this other guy out. And then right after they said that, I realized that he was on live with Paramount Tactical. So I went and I started spamming their comments. And I mean, they like literally just bringing up like the whole thing over and over again. And I really wanted to see what he would say about it. And at first, the first time, as soon as I mentioned Freemasonry, they blocked me. So I got on another channel, started doing it again. This time I didn't mention it because I'm like, okay, maybe they don't want me going there. So, but I kept talking about the squib. Like, hey, why don't you talk about a squib? If they didn't use it, why don't you break it down and explain why? And when they post the video, you're not going to see the questions that are actually being asked. You just see what the responses are. And the live feed, it's like moving a million miles a minute. So a lot of people don't see it unless you do spam the hell out of it. But, I asked one thing, like, why wasn't there a lot of blood on the ground? How come it came out chunky if that's not supposed to be possible to come out that way? And like it looked like he took a shit out his neck, or like period blood. And then the last thing I said, and what was this thing on his back when they were loading him in the van? Was that a blood bag? So they had noticed me, and they kind of talked about it. And the guy from Paramount was like, "Man, you should have saw the chat last night. Some people were saying I was in on it, dude. I'm sorry, but you're reluctant to talk about it." And look, he breaks down everything perfectly except for the part when he gets to the shirt, and he's like, "I can't explain that." He gets to the mic, "I can't explain that." But the only way to explain it is with a vest, and that doesn't explain the shirt, and he just keeps sidestepping it. It's like, well, if it doesn't explain the shirt and you really want to get down to the truth, so let's talk about it. But anyway, so he walked away for a second, and the other guy saw what I said, and he chose to only address one part, which is why there was so little blood, because your heart stops pumping it. He ignored the other part completely. And then the other guy came back, and I kept asking questions like that, and he did the same thing to me. He mentioned the squib lightly in passing and just like glossed over it. He didn't go into details about why it is. Oh, I don't believe it. I don't believe that's what it was, and then just keeps talking. Well, I mean, he didn't. There's no holes in his shirt from the bullet, man. Like, how does it's shot up like a waterfall. I mean, how does that happen? A bullet cannot carry clothing. It just can't. And if you look at the last thing I posted, you'll see exactly what it really is. Like, it's so stupid, man. Like, you expect people to believe that he reacted before the bullet hit him because it bounced off a piece of armor, broke, and went, like, it would have had to have been in his shirt for this to even be possible. And even then, how is it going to move the shirt like this? It doesn't, it, it just doesn't, it can't do that, man. A bullet cannot move a shirt. It can't carry a shirt. It can't suck a microphone towards it. It can't do anything like that. So the fact, oh yeah, I can't explain that. That's why people are saying you're in on it, dude. Because you get to this point, and every time I just get here and I get stuck. Like, really? Do you really think you got red and blue lights in your background, and your logo is 3 pyramids with 3 sevens in the center? And you think that people aren't going to see that, and they're just like, your entire analysis of what happened with his body movements and everything, I mean, he's not going to watch this, but it's spot on. It's the same thing that I was saying before I ever even saw his video. Spot on. 100% spot on. But when he gets to that point, every time, he knows he can't explain it, and then he just glosses over it. This is a sniper, dude. So, I mean, if you're struggling explaining it using whatever you're trying to make fit, then maybe you should look at a different option. And if you're unwilling to do so, then why aren't you willing to do so? He also mentioned that he doesn't do it full time. But anyway, it's not just him. It's literally all over social media. It's all over social media. And speaking of that, why do you have to do a live memorial in the first place? Because that's a show. You go out there, like, it's totally unnecessary. It's totally unnecessary. Is he really dead? Because if he is really dead, what the hell are you doing? And what's up, like, oh man, like all of it, none of it makes any sense, man. And there's still, like, I just don't understand. This is like living in an idiocracy. Like, they just did the dumbest thing ever, and people actually believed it. And like, and it totally looks like the dude that's standing behind him with the beard. Like, that really does look like the guy that won 6 Academy Awards for designing these things for special effects and makeup. He's the one in the plaid shirt. Like, he looks totally out of place compared to the other ones. They all got like collar shirts on and everything. He's dressed totally different, and he helped carry it to the van. And I actually read that whoever designed it would be standing close by. Is that the guy? Is that the guy? That's a serious question. Can anybody tell me who that guy is? I don't know the guy's name. Like, I posted a picture of him in my community post, but I would really like to know, is that the guy? Because I'm pretty sure that's the guy. Could be wrong, blurry, but I mean, it's got the same dopey ears, the same like shape of the nose and cheekbones, lips and chin. Like, it looks exactly like him. It's just real blurry, so you can't 100% prove it. Anyways. So this is funny. And now people are posting videos of his necklace flying off, saying, look, it's a bullet going in the back. So that is one thing. That is why I'm talking about Paramount Tactical, because he shows pretty good angles. So I know they've seen the footage that I've seen where you can see it on him, because they have all these different angles that they're showing you. And they're showing you all these different things happen. So why not address the elephant in the room, man? And all these people on the right wing, like Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, like, I don't care who they are, they won't talk about it. And let's discuss something else for a minute. So here's the thing. So people are like, Israel killed him. Israel killed him. Well, this is so funny. So you think Israel had the guy assassinated because he was talking too much about Israel, and his wife is going to go hug and kiss the people that killed him and shake hands with them and do this stupid memorial to try to hypnotize the people more. I forgive you for what? What did he do? He didn't do anything, man. Like, you're never going to convince me of that. You're never going to convince me of that. Oh, man. I mean, anyway, so the fact that this is literally the way it ties together in October, I would definitely expect the third act to be in October, because it is part of something bigger, and they're not done. and they're not going to be. This goes back years, man. They've been thinking about this for a long time. They're not going to be done. And people that still haven't caught on, like, and like still have doubts, like, it could be. Look, these people, the top positions are appointed by the president. Israel appoints the presidents. It's not that hard to figure out. The top positions of everything are people who they know they can trust, people that you cannot trust. And when you look at people that are going to be, like, do you think that somebody who was definitely, like, Charlie Kirk's father helped build Trump's tower. And if you haven't seen the picture, the whole thing, I think there was 66 floors on it or something. And no, his penthouse was on the 66th floor. It was a shrine to Apollo. And he's got an upside down pyramid with 6 trees on every side. So you got 666. And his penthouse is covered in gold. So when he comes down, it's God coming down to earth. You know, God sacrificed himself to become sin so you could live. That's what that number is. And then you have 6 plus 6 plus 6, 6, 12, 18, 1 plus 8 is 9. Add it up, that's the Omega. And Revelations 13, 7, that number, the 6th day and the 7th day, this is a new heaven and a new earth. Like, and then that whole thing, beast 1 is Mary, beast 2 is Jesus. It doesn't mean what people think. This is literally how they interpret it. That's what these symbols mean. And when they're doing these, like, it's just so funny because people can't figure this out for some reason. But yeah, there's a picture of Trump standing next to the tower. I thought he designed it himself. Maybe he had help. I don't know. But he's standing next to it. You can see him doing this. I mean, 666. So Trump has known what this stuff is the whole time. It's not a coincidence you see him wearing a little hat kissing the wall. Like, the only person that I've seen a picture of that kissed the wall that I have a question about their true allegiance is Putin, because when it comes to, this is the last thing I'm going to say, and then I got to go. I got stuff I got to do. I don't have time to really get into full details here, but he was allied with the Assad. So let me go back further. In 2006, Ukraine tried to join NATO. Angela Merkel turned them down, saying that her and Putin spoke the same language. So she understood that he was going to flip out if they did it and would start a war. So she turned them down and said, no, you can't join. So then you fast forward. And during this time period, like, Putin started getting really close with Bibi Netanyahu and people here in the West. And, like, he was allies with Assad. His only military base is in the Middle East, is in Syria. So by the time 2014 came around, he actually had a huge military, but, like, his military was really growing there. It was, like, at its peak. He never had that many people there. And in 2010, Ukraine actually got a new leader, and they formed an alliance with Putin. So he was actually allies with the guy in Ukraine, with Ukraine. They were friends. And what happened was, you know, even though he's all buddy-buddy with Putin or Bibi Netanyahu, they start, like, looking at this. Syria's right outside their border. It's huge. Like, it really is a military base like Israel is. And they're really concerned about occupying Syria. They need to. So they had United States throw a coup in Ukraine and get rid of that guy. And that's how Zelensky got in there. And the Russians in Ukraine started flipping out. But long story short, it forced Putin to divert his troops to defend his border, because it's like, this is why they made this move, to make him react like that. They knew how he was going to react, and they did it knowingly to make him react that way, to get him away from Syria so they could overthrow Assad. I mean, that's literally what happened. So from a practical standpoint, it looks like he was trying to play a middle ground while every move that he made was supposed to be against them. So I don't know. He was going to the same organizations and stuff before them. He helped plan a lot of the same stuff. He was definitely involved in the same scams, and they have a huge Jewish following in Russia. I mean, it was actually Joseph Stalin who armed them to create Israel in the first place. And a lot of people don't know this. He was the first one to recognize them. And USSR had a huge Jewish influence, right? So after they formed and through literally started a civil war in Russia to put in a new system, it's like, you'll see the same pattern everywhere when you start following these people around. But after that, he gave them all guns to go form Israel, and then he had an uprising in Russia from the same people, and he was like, oh shit, I'm about to lose my country. So he turned against them. He flipped and he started aligning against them. At least this is what it looks like when you look at everything. It's really impossible to 100% know what anybody's motives are when they do stuff like this, because it could be very misleading, and it could be meant to be misleading. So all possibilities should probably be examined and explored. But anyway, so they did it again with the USSR, and they started a bunch of shit and had it overthrown, and then they were finally able to establish diplomatic relations when Russia formed, and then Putin got in there, and he was from the KGB. He's lasted so long because he got really smart. Even like he knew what was going on, you know. Like even the guy that they said that he killed that was running against him, he was aligned with the leader of Ukraine who was trying to join NATO, which means essentially they were trying to join up with Israel. So I mean, from a point of view of a Russian, I would be very happy with someone like that, because they would be fucked. Like, but I mean, then again, when you look at what's happening now, people can change their minds very easily when you put enough stress on them. So I don't know. Things are really complicated and messy when you look at global relations. It's all a huge struggle for influence. And another thing that Putin did, like they have a lot of voices in the Vatican. I'll put it that way. And the reason why they're a Christian country is just to combat the United States influence in the Vatican. So that's why they defend Christians in the Middle East. It's not because they're great people or anything like that. They do it because they want influence. This is how all these people think. It's business. It's all business. Everything that you look at when it comes to global relations between these people, it's business. And when it comes to, like, that's especially true of organizations like Turning Point that brought in $80 million. If you think that money doesn't complicate things, the second that you take like millions of dollars from somebody, you owe them something. So when he's going around peddling Israeli propaganda, that's why. And if you think that he turned on them, look at his wife right now, man. Does it look like he turned on them? Does it really look like that? They want them talking shit on Israel. It's by design, man. Anyway, I gotta go.